Traditionally, with door entry, you've got your traditional market players who've been here a while, but now with the introduction of Chinese brands coming out with some better features, but again, the better pricing as well.
They spread the word through the market, do all the events, all the seminars they do. So it's like huge cost for them, but still they doing it and they keep doing it. So this is where we have to give the credit to them, because from like many years ago when they started, so they spent a lot on that market in the
Right, let's become wholesaler. We'll cut back, we'll shrink it back, reduce the overheads, and we'll become a tier 2. We approached HIKVISION and said, look, can we do this? And the answer was no. Brilliant, nice one. Actually, we'd like you as a tier 1. And we did a deal, like I say, from nothing to that within 3 weeks.
Talking to any customers that they had Uniview 6-7 years ago, they were not happy on that time. But when they're using it now, they're giving us completely different feedback.
We were the largest Dahua distributor at the time, neck and neck with a Prima.
Why haven't like Tiandi, TVT, these other manufacturers thought, right, let's go? Because the UK is, if I'm not wrong, the UK is probably the biggest security market in the world. Welcome to the third episode of Room Secured. In our first distributor episode, we sat down with Prima and Vidicon to hear their take on the market. But today, we're shifting the focus. This time, we're joined by two independent distributors who bring a very different perspective. On one side, we have Tooraj Habibi from Doris CCTV, and on the other, James Bentley from J&S Security. Both have built their businesses outside the big national model, carving out their own space in the market. We'll be exploring what makes independence different, from personal service and product choices to the challenges of competing with the giants. And we'll also be asking some direct questions about the risks of relying on big brands, including what really happened when COP lost the Dahua distributorship and why Doris's partnership with HIKVISION came to an end. This is going to be a candid conversation and one you won't hear anywhere else. Right, so let's dive straight into it. First question I've got is, how do your independent distributors like yourselves compete with the big boys, you know, in terms of price, stock holding, and also loyalty as well?
Okay, so basically it's not very easy, obviously, to compete with them. But what we have to focus mainly, it is the value that customer needs, not just the product. So if we more focus on the value and obviously training, then we can have we can make a difference between ourselves and the bigger.
But do you get like, for example, you might get an installer who tries to price something that you're doing against some of the big boys, but you're maybe a couple of pounds more. But then do you see the installer still comes to you because, like you say, you add more value than the big boys?
Exactly. So one of the value goes back to the service that we offer to the installer. For example, pre-configuration and other things that we can offer is fast service and decision, that if any customized project comes for the big companies.
That you just touched the point there, the quick decisions.
Yeah.
You don't need to go back to, right, I need to ask manager, I need to ask another manager, need to go to... You can make a decision literally within a few minutes. Your staff come to you and say, can we do X, Y, Z? You can turn around and say, yep, we can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the trust element as well. I think with some of the bigger companies, you end up with a plethora of people, and you might ring one day and get this person, ring another one, whereas, especially for us, there's 3 people, and we've got WhatsApp that you can contact us on. You can ring the shop, and you get one of 3.
Yeah,
we all communicate.
Yeah,
and everybody knows what's going on. You build up that rapport with the customer, and people buy from people. And I think the smaller distributors and wholesalers really benefit from that trust element, and that's where I think we have to differentiate ourselves and offer that next level of customer interaction as such, which is really difficult for the bigger boys to do.
And I've found that not just in the security industry, but look at any industry. When you're dealing with a smaller business and a smaller company, you get that profession, that service where, like, I'm ringing James, right? James, is James there? I want to speak to James.
Yeah.
But what I've found is, as a business slowly starts to grow and grow and grow, you lose that personal touch that you had when it was like, you say, just the three of you.
Yeah.
Now, let's say now it's going to be 30 of you in a number of years' time. How do you still provide that personal touch? Because you're not going to be on the end of the phone available to speak to that customer.
No, you're not. But I think that sort of comes from the top down. If you instill that within your staff, they give that personal approach. And if you get your recruitment right, if you get your sort of training right, they really embody that sort of image of you and how you want to run that company. And I think the bigger you get, the harder it is to keep that going. And that is the nature of the beast. You are never going to kind of have that personal touch to the same level. But then you become one of the bigger boys yourself. So again, the smaller people that you want,
they will evolve in what you used to be. They're taking over what you used to be.
Yeah.
So in terms of, I'd class you yourself as an independent distributor. How do you decide on the stock holding that you're going to keep? Because again, we know with multiple brands, with your HIKVISION, Dahua, even Uniview, there's so many products in the range. Choose one camera. You might have 6 different options in that one camera. I don't think there's anyone in the UK who probably stocks everything that HIKVISION do or even Dahua do, because it'd be too much. Yeah. But then how do you guys determine what we're going to stock?
Yeah, so one of the things we have to remember is, so when the business starts from the small, so it grows organically. So in this way, we know what customer needs, and we know our customers, we know their needs. So in terms of a stock, we have more freedom, basically. If we need any product, within few weeks, we can source it and do a test. If it's okay, then we just introduce it to the market, which we have done it in the past for many times. And that, again, gives another level of service and the speed in the market.
Yeah. So you're focusing more customer feedback. Let's say, for example, they're using a lot more of a wide-angle turret camera with white lights. We're going to stock more in that style of product, as opposed to, a fixed bullet camera lens that no one really is going to...
It might be accessories as well, not only just focus on CCTV. For example, we had a customer asking for wireless HDMI transmitter. So I
just did a video on that recently.
So we had that product from 5-6 different sources. We chose the best one for the customer, had few batches, then tested again, and now we have a lot of happy customers.
I think one of the things that you've just said there, it's the speed. It's the way that, because we're smaller, we can do the ducking and diving that the bigger boys can't do. And for example, we had an order the other week, Ajax kit. It was for the wired fibra stuff. There wasn't one distributor in the country, main distributor, that had all of the items in stock.
Yeah.
Customer needed it for tomorrow. We were able to source it
from different people.
Yeah.
And made it up. Whereas they wouldn't be able to, would they?
Exactly. And that, again, going back to the differentiator, is where we can do the wheeler dealing and the ducking and diving for the customer. End result, yes, the customer might pay a little bit more for it, but they get the kit, they get the job done, and
not delaying on their install, they're not delaying waiting, etc.
Yeah, exactly. The channels we have, it is much bigger than like a big companies.
Yes.
So that's why it's like we can get any products we need within 1 or 2 days.
I think we'll touch on the channels a bit later because I'm sure there's some topics we can discuss on there. Then brings me on to price. So how do you compete with pricing? Again, with the larger distributors, do you buy at similar prices to what they're doing, or are you buying a bit more? Is your profit margin a bit less? How does that work?
Obviously, they normally leave room for us for any product when you buy as in a wholesale. But again, it's not as big as what they're making. So there are some customers in the market, they just go for the price, so we can't stop them. But there are other customers in the market where they looking for the value and the service. So this is, again, we focus on that point where we can have that customer and have the customer loyalty, where they're coming back to us again, because they know if something goes wrong tomorrow, then we are there for them. And it's not like management change over the night, then nothing works again. They have to wait for long time on the phone. So our systems are completely different and much easier for them to approach.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With you being a smaller or independent distributor, how does your training side of things work? Because again, I see on the larger distributors, they're always holding training sessions with different manufacturers. Do you guys hold training sessions as well? Or do you tend to work with the manufacturers, call the manufacturers in, or try and lead your customers to when the manufacturers are holding like a group training session?
Yeah, it's kind of the distributors, and nobody will ever hold training for a brand that they don't sell, obviously. We do training sort of very rarely. We try and run sort of one a month if we can. Not as a conversion. I think some of the manufacturers would prefer us to run a training session to why you should use their product.
I see a lot of distributors do that. And I say this to the distributors as well, that what you're doing is not a training course.
No.
It's a sales pitch.
It is, and I think people aren't daft.
Yeah.
They understand what's going on. And I mean, you've got in the CCTV world, you've got the two big boys, you've got the HIK and you've got the Dahua. Personally, I compare it to Samsung and Apple.
Yeah.
On the mobile phone side of things. Once you are in that camp, it's going to take something seismic for you to move over, because you are in their ecosystem. And I think it goes deeper than that, in the fact that if you've got engineers and you've got your technical people, it's not just I'll buy this box one day and I'll buy this one the next day. You have to retrain your entire workforce, and it's a huge business decision. That's not cheap to do. And I think some of the training courses, like you say, can be very sales heavy. And I always say that if companies are doing really well, they haven't got the time to go on the training courses.
Yes, that's another thing, time.
It is. And you see, especially some of these like road shows, you see the same faces, every single one. And you kind of think, you can't be busy. And yeah, it's difficult to do. I must admit, we when we do the training courses, I try and get them to be more sort of specific to features that people may not understand, sort of that are available. We did a Dahua one the other day with the sort of the people analytics side of things, and I was blown away. I didn't realise it did that. And yes, it can be a bit salesy, but it's real world uses for people to kind of see and go, I can see where I can use that. Right, I'll have a look at it myself and do my own research. And I think that then is very organic for people to, I might look at swapping. I might, and rather than, look how wonderful our product is, it's better than the competition. It's much more organic and it takes time.
Well, I think what we need to remember, as you mentioned, so the big companies, normally they use the manufacturer to do the training.
Yes.
But what difference is for us, we don't use them. So we try always to have our training, and normally our technical people at work, they're doing this because they know the problem which happened with some existing
because they're getting the tech support calls all the time.
They have. So they know which point they have to
cover,
show or cover more to the customer. Of course, he has a sales pitch in the middle, but we tell them the benefit of using any kind of product. What is the benefit comparing to other brands, obviously, in the market? But that is very important to have, not rely on the manufacturer. So same with Uniview. We have 1 or 2 sessions we had it from Uniview. Then we said, now we can do it ourselves. And now the next we're going to do it with Ruji as well, the Ruji networking product. So we have few sessions with them. Now from next one, probably we're going to do it ourselves.
Okay, interesting. Regional and national with your clients. So as you both started off with just one branch. I know, Doris, you've opened a secondary branch, but do you normally find where it's installers will come in, pick the kit up, and off to the job? Or are you finding clients from further afield? Like, say, for example, you're based in Manchester. Do you get clients from London or Birmingham? And with yourself based in London, have you got clients in Manchester and, Scotland? How's that work?
Of course, we do have customers all over the UK, as we can just ship the product next day to them. But having the conversation, obviously face to face, it makes the better trust and a stronger relationship with the customer. So this is where we mainly focus. That was another reason we opened the branch in Birmingham, because we can get more in touch with the customer and we can do more training for them.
Yeah, I think we probably do 95% of orders we ship out, and only 5% are actual collections. I think although we're a new business, essentially, we're only just over 18 months old, the three of us have been in the industry a long time.
Yeah.
Lee has been in the industry
I
his
remember
whole
Lee
life.
when he was like Gardner. His dad was Gardner Security.
Yeah, started
And
Gardeners.
then he used to be at COP Original when your father owned it. Was that right?
Yeah, so he was there. He left for a little bit. Then he came back. Then he left again for a little bit.
Something keeps drawing him back.
Yeah, this is it. And when we rang him, and he was sort of taking a break, and we rang him and said, "Look, would you be interested in getting the band back together?" kind of thing. And he's been brilliant for us. But he's been in the industry a long time, so he knows lots of people. Scott has been in the industry a long time. I mean, he was a warehouse assistant manager for 20 years, I think 20 odd years. It was a part-time job that he started and never left. I've known him a lot longer than that. I mean, our parents used to work together. Then myself, I'm the third generation. My grandfather was working with Bentley alarm panels and stuff. So it's kind of, we've been around a long, long time, and we have that connection with customers already. Everybody knows Lee. And so from that side of things, I personally don't think the branch model would work for us. I think the only people within the industry that have really made it work on a large scale are ADI. Fortis to a degree, I think, but again, that was pre-established with Enterprise, and now they've just purchased security supplies. But I don't know how you find it, but...
Yeah, I'm a little bit against what you said.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way.
No.
But I think if you have a business model where you can copy-paste it to another branch, it's going to work. Because some of the companies, they might just open one, and there is no system for it.
Yes.
But as long as you've got a proper system for it, then you can simply just copy-paste it, same as, let's say, McDonald's. So this way...
How long did you wait until you opened your second branch in Birmingham?
So I was planning for maybe 4 years or 5 years.
You were planning to open it
Yes.
Since then?
I mean, the whole operation system. So I was planning it for a very long time. Then I was looking for the location, which was either Manchester or Birmingham.
And what made you choose Birmingham first over Manchester?
Birmingham, for two reasons. So first is more near to London. So it's only 2 hours.
So it's easy for you to travel.
travel
Do
is
you
easy.
travel to the branch often or not?
Probably once a month at least, I try. Then other reason was because since we started working with Uniview, so in Birmingham, the most of installers, they using HIKVISION product. So that was a good chance for us to
Try and
be
convert
there
them.
and show them what Uniview can do for them. What is the quality between the products. And because we've done the same thing exactly in London as well. When we used to sell only HIKVISION, which was 3 years ago, then when the customer showed the actual product, as in Uniview, and they saw there's no big difference between this product and that product, and has got some extra benefit, so they started using Uniview. So that was the idea behind going to Birmingham mainly.
And do you think you will then open a third branch? Is that in the plans, or you think
Of course,
it's
now it's easy. I mean, first one obviously is more challenging. It's always the case. But the good thing is we know the way how to do. As I mentioned, we can just copy paste the next one.
You've
But-
learnt the lessons, haven't you?
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
exactly. So luckily we didn't make like a big mistake in terms of the whole operation starting to the opening day. So we know the way now. So at the moment, probably we're just looking for the right person. Then we can have it in any location. Doesn't matter. Not specifically Manchester. It
Yeah.
can be any other location.
I think that's right. The key point there is the right people to do it.
Yes.
I think you've got to trust them 100%. And I think, going back to what I said before, I think for us, doing 95% sort of ship out, it wouldn't make sense to have those because you just end up with an overhead. And if I'm shipping it from the central hub anyway, what's the point? I think if you're doing a lot more through the trade counter, then yes, it makes sense to do that. And you can understand why then you want to go and do that. I think if you can get the right people for yourself, it's a no-brainer to, right, let's replicate that, like say, copy and paste.
Yeah, exactly.
It.
But because when you have customer like different location, you can't have that connection.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you explain this product is good or you show or tell all the features, but obviously they might listen only to half of it, or maybe they don't even listen. But when you have the products in front of you, you can see all the features.
Yeah.
so? That just would ask you: would you look at expanding to a bigger premises, or would you look at having a second branch? What would you be your? I'm guessing a bigger premises. As you grow.
Well, we've just got ourselves a secondary warehouse for the
So
stock.
have you outgrown the premises
Yes.
that you're at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's been into our shop, you walk
Are
in.
you tripping
and,
over stuff?
Yeah, and the problem we have at the moment, which is something you mentioned before about how you choose the right products, we were limited in the fact that, like you said, the accessories, we can't have the plethora of brackets because I've physically got nowhere to put them. I mean, my garage, my wife goes mental. It's just full of products at times. So we've secured a warehouse, which we've now moved, I would say about 50% of our stock holding into there, because I don't need hundreds of a single camera in the shop. I can nip it. It's 10 minutes away. I can go and get them to ship orders out. Whereas if somebody comes in and desperately needs them, I've got them. I think longer term, I do want to look at more of a central distribution hub rather than the branch model. But that might change. I mean, like we were just saying there, if all of a sudden it becomes 50-50 where I've got a lot more people coming into the shop and I can look at replicating that, that might change. I'm very much sort of open to changing of plans, very fluid with it. I think even though we've only been going 18 months or so, I still don't know where we ultimately want to end up. And I don't think we ever should. We should always be very fluid and right.
You should have an end goal.
Yeah.
But the way you get there, rather than going down, let's say the motorway,
Yeah.
you can say, right, we'll take an A road, or we'll go over the toll road, and
Yeah.
you're still getting to the final destination.
Oh, absolutely.
But how are you guys marketing in terms? Because obviously with again, I refer to them as the big boys. They've got the big marketing budgets behind them where they can attend multiple events, throw money at the magazines. Are you guys working more on your digital content, or do you still go to, attend exhibitions and stuff?
I mean, marketing, if you compare, for example, our marketing channels are doing very well. So I'll give you some examples, such as our YouTube has got nearly 8,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Yes, and also we make money as well on YouTube. Then our Instagram, if I'm not wrong, is around 40,000 or 40,000. We have subscribers. And LinkedIn as well, around maybe 2,000. So generally, I think marketing, it goes back to the skills, not the size of the company. So it can be a company I know, they don't even have a LinkedIn.
Yep.
You know,
I know,
one
I
of
know,
the
I know,
things-
I know a distributor as well who doesn't really heavily focus on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it in the last one, didn't you?
One
Yeah.
of the things I explained to all the people we are working with, I said it is mandatory to use LinkedIn at least half an hour to 1 hour a day. Not as on your lunch break, just
Throughout
at
the
work.
day.
Yeah, just post something. And you can see our people are posting things and explaining different kind of things happen at work. So when it goes to marketing, it's just a skill. So if the big company, they're lucky, they have like a skilled person, it can grow their marketing channel. But sometimes another thing is sometimes they might be big enough, they don't even bother doing the marketing. They just say leave it as it is. And I was surprised. I can not even right now I can see many big companies, they don't even have a proper website.
Yeah.
You know, the website is the main thing of any company nowadays.
Yeah.
And they don't even have it, which is very strange.
I think as sort of, when you've got a limited budget, you have to look at it differently.
Yeah.
You have to try different things. One thing we've tried to do is be very heavy on the social media side of things, LinkedIn especially. Not to generate leads and to generate business.
Awareness.
Brand awareness.
Yes.
And the amount of conversations that I've had with people say, I've seen your content on things, I've seen the J&S stuff, I've seen your stuff. Again, it goes back to right at the very beginning. It's that trust.
Yeah.
It's that brand trust and the recognition. And you won't get any direct sales from it. But do you get any direct sales from magazine adverts, from exhibitions?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember at COP when we did IFSEC one year, and it cost tens of thousands of pounds. And how do you calculate an ROI on that?
Correct.
You can't. And the year after we didn't do it,
And there was no difference in
there was
sales,
no
probably.
difference. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't work.
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
just you're
so
in people's-
difficult. It is, and I think it's very similar with the exhibitions, that it's the brand exposure, it's the, wow, you've got a massive stand. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, about Tiandi. In the UK, they've got very little presence. Whereas if you look at some of the exhibitions in Europe, they have a huge stand, and you're impressed. And you wonder why they're not doing more elsewhere.
It's exactly the same. When I was at Intersec in Dubai and I stumbled across their stand, and like you said, I was looking at all these products, and I'm wondering, why is no one in the UK distributing Tiandi? And I could, to the point, I couldn't even speak to a member of staff because they were that busy.
Yeah.
However, in the UK, you ask anyone about Tiandi, they've never even heard of him.
Nope.
The UK market is completely different than any other countries in Europe. Even the product they're using here is completely different.
What do you think's happened to the UK market?
It's
Is it being taken over by certain brands who've got the foothold, and other brands from China or the Far East, they can't come and penetrate into it?
I think it's a very old market. It's been around a long time, and I think you're right. It's totally different. And going back to the days when Dahua were first getting into the UK market, they brought with them this, well, we've done it in Latin America. We do really well. This is how we penetrate. And it didn't work. And I think it's taken them years to really develop the understanding of that. And I think you've only got to look at, like you say, they hold that. I mean, we spoke about it before, about COP. We used to do our own products. That doesn't happen. You've spoke about it before.
It doesn't happen, because I remember COP. How I remember COP was it was an own brand made in Taiwan, if I'm not wrong. And they had their own range of cameras, monitors, multiplexers, etc. But that got wiped out.
Yep.
Just a quick reminder that today's episode is sponsored by Uniview.
Do you think, and I'm thinking back now, was HIKVISION one of the first ones who came into the market? And back then it was, people were buying your Bosch, your JVC, your Panasonics. HIKVISION came in, and people are like, we need to have a look at that, because we can get the same product at like nearly a third of the price,
Yeah.
with some great features. And is that when people started jumping over onto that?
I think you have to give credit to what DVS did. They saw...
They were the first.
They were the first.
Distributors, weren't they, for HIKVISION?
And they saw the product and they saw what it could become. And you have to give them credit for that, because the market changed overnight. And like you said, you go, well, hang on, I was using this product. I can have this product now that's so much better and so many more features, higher quality, everything for a very similar price. And then they had, I think it was 2 or 3 years
Before someone else.
before Dahua got involved. And we dipped our toe. We did an OEM brand of Dahua, and I think it was Security Dynamics were kind of doing Dahua, and then Cop and Aprima got on board and became main distributors. And yeah, I think they just kind of ran with it, and
to the point where HIKVISION is like a home brand. People know. You speak to anyone.
We should give a little bit credit as well to the HIKVISION marketing team.
yes,
Because what they have done, they spread the word through the market.
yeah.
So do all the events, all the seminars they do. So it's like huge cost for them, but still they doing it and they keep doing it.
Yeah.
So this is where we have to give the credit to them, because from like many years ago when they started, so they spent a lot on that marketing, which is one of the most
The key
important
things, and it comes down to marketing.
Brands,
Comes down to marketing again. Is they had the plan, and as you say, Dahua basically replicated what HIKVISION tried to do, or are still replicating. And now I see Uniview want to try and come and, because how I explain to people is HIKVISION came out, lower price, better features than what was out in the market.
Yep.
Then you got Dahua, who came out, who tried to undercut the HIKVISION prices, but tried to offer more features as well. And now I'm seeing the same thing with Uniview coming at better pricing than the other two, and coming out with even better features.
Yeah, exactly. So what I think Uniview done, when we started working with them, so we explained them where the weakness was in their product. In terms of app, you can see they changed their app now. They have a new app.
Yes.
And a lot of other features, which we gave them a feedback because we used to work with other brands. So in this way, then they wanted to come to the market and they wanted to grow to the market. So that is why they made a lot of changes and a lot of new products they released. But one of the interesting things is when I'm talking to any customers that they had Uniview 6-7 years ago, they were not happy on that time.
Yes.
But when they're using it now, they're giving us completely different feedback, which we can see that. So from here, I can see that Uniview trying their best to grow their market.
Yeah, I remember we looked at it probably about 6 years ago, and it was relatively new to the UK market, and the product range just wasn't there.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad kit. It just, they didn't have the range that the HIKVISION and Dahua had at the time. Now it's a total different ball game. They really have listened to the feedback.
Even in voice ISP technology, they were one of the first ones who released
The color at night
product,
time is brilliant. I've
so
tested
they
it.
released it first in the market, then straight away a few months later, they released the 8 megapixel, which was something no other competitors had it. And our customer, they were so happy.
Yeah.
They also did another thing now. They've just recently opened their UK office,
Yes, in Manchester.
Uniview, which I think it shows that once a company establishes a base in the UK, it helps the distributors as well as also the installers as well.
Yeah, it's boots on the ground. And I think, like you said before, with the HIKVISION marketing, they try and develop that sort of bottom-up demand from the end user. And I think when they've got a UK presence, it adds weight to it.
Yeah.
If one, especially for the distributors, they know they've got support. They know they've got UK technical team. They can offer the training. They've got the demo suite facilities. When you are looking at some of the bigger projects, these companies want to go in and they want to know, actually, you're serious. You know what you're doing. You've made the investment. We can see where you're heading. And again, it builds that trust.
Yeah, exactly. We had cases where Uniview joined the big project, and that from that point, the customers see the value.
Yeah.
I mean, what the effort that Uniview put into the market.
Yeah.
One question I've got for you guys is, how come you can't, as an installer, go into one distributor and have a choice of either HIKVISION, Dahua, or Uniview? Like, I don't think there is a distributor who stock everything.
No.
Why is that?
I mean, I had this plan in my mind probably 9 years ago, but it doesn't work because most of the big brands, they don't like the wholesale company or any kind of distribution companies. They offering all the different products. One of the disadvantages, they don't work with this kind of company. So they don't see this as an advantage in their favor. So they don't like it. So if you go and having all these brands, then probably you end up saying there is no profit left, there's no support, and you might give up.
Yeah, and I think really there's only one big distributor that sells the HIKVISION and the Dahua, and that's ADI.
Yeah.
And I think, like I say, they're worried that if you go into one of these places where they offer both, I mean, we offer both.
The installer's got a choice.
Yeah. And they're worried that you're
It's not
going
to be their
say,
brand.
Yeah. But like we said before with the Apple, the truth of it is the customer already knows what they're going to buy.
It's hard. It brings on to another question. How do you, like, you've been through this where you said you were a HIKVISION, used to sell HIKVISION. How hard or easy is it to convert that person to now buy Uniview? Because, like you say, I've been Apple all my life, and I don't think I'd ever switch to Samsung unless someone can prove me wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to do something brilliant just because I've had Apple instill me from day one. How do you do the same?
That is, if you convert them from HIKVISION to Uniview, I would say that is very easy. And you might have a question why. Because we worked with HIKVISION almost 6 years, or even maybe a little bit more. So we know the problems on HIKVISION. So here we should say thanks to the product manager for making these problems. So give us a strong point where we can just show that problem. Not only us showing, the customer see that. Let's say in alarm system, it wasn't great product. In Intercom, so many problems. So this is easily where the installer give up.
Yeah.
And
so their issues is a positive for you when you're showing them a new brand.
That's one of the point. So other point might be prices. Other point might be extra support. For example, with Uniview, easily you get like advanced replacement. But in some cases, HIKVISION, for example, you have to return it back to the repair center, which we are still doing that on some existing like old products that we had. And these are like extra support the Uniview offering. But having those kind of problems, it just gives us more easier and better advantage to convert a customer, which we have done it because our customer were using only HIKVISION. Now we managed to do probably 80 to 90% of conversion rate from HIKVISION to Uniview.
I think that goes, again, back to the trust side of things. I think as a distributor, if customers trust you and you have the conversation, like you say, and say, look, we've gone to Uniview, this is why, they will trust you and they'll make that leap. When we were let go by Dahua at Corp, we had a similar situation where we were like, right, we're going to have to swap sell. Customers we spoke to said, we trust your decision, and whatever brand you're selling, we trust it will work and it will do what you say. And they'll buy into that. People buy from people. And if you provide them with a product, if you've done the testing, if you've run it through its paces, and it does do what you want and what you say it will do, they'll buy it. So I think that is a big part.
You mentioned something there is when you were let go by Dahua.
Yep.
Now, for people who are watching, your father used to own COP.
Yes.
So we're talking now previous management. And at that point, you guys were tier 1 distributors, Dahua?
Yep. We were the largest Dahua distributor at the time. Neck and neck with a Prima.
What happened?
Well, it was end of 2020, back end of 2020, pandemic peak. The whole world is shut effectively. And my father had a Zoom call with the Dahua management, and it was a Monday morning, and they read him the riot act for half an hour about how we've not hit targets for Q1 or 2, I can't remember, and that we've not reached the agreement and this, and as a result, we're terminating the agreement with immediate effect. It was a global pandemic. Nobody was hitting sales targets at that time. We were told there would be a 3-day grace period, or 2 or 3 day grace period, where they wouldn't make an announcement to give us time to let the staff know, to basically let our customers know. When the meeting ended, my dad sat there in his office thinking, right, brilliant, what are we going to do now? Because, and because at the time it was 80% of our business.
Pretty much like what COP was with HIKVISION now, 80% of the business.
Yeah, and we had 3 or 4 months worth of stock on the shelves. While he sat there, Lee, who now obviously works for us, knocked on his door and said, Chris, I've just had a phone call from a customer saying we're no longer a Dahua disty. Is that right? So, and we've later found out that they had obtained the database, the company database, had given it to all the other distributors, the Dahua distributors, and said, off you go, fair game.
Target these customers because they're going to lose their distributorship soon.
We're pulling it now, off you go. And they were ringing everybody, telling them that it had been pulled. We, like I say, we had 3 or 4 months worth of stock on the shelf. So our immediate plan was, right, we don't have to do anything today. We can keep supplying people. Realistically, you're going to run out the fast movers sort of within 2 months. So we've got 2 months before we're in real trouble. We had, I think it was 3 containers on order.
Were they set sail or were they yet to set sail?
They hadn't yet set sail.
Right.
Dahua, their plan was to pump that stock into us, keep it going. We'd then not be able to shift it. We wouldn't be able to afford to pay for it, and we'd collapse. In hindsight, it was the best thing they ever did, because we then had 6 months worth of stock. So it gave us a lot more time to sort of transition over.
Even though other people were targeting them to say they've lost their distributorship.
Yes.
So they still allowed you to sell the stock that was coming and still provide the warranty. So what was different?
Their plan was pump the stock into them. We'll steal all the customers because they're not authorized anymore. They can't offer everything. And we kept advanced replacement stock. We didn't sell it so that we could honour the warranties, and we footed that ourselves. They wouldn't allow us to return products, anything like that anymore. They then blamed one of the other distributors for supplying us, because a couple of the distributors, hang on a minute, they've still got stock 4 months later. What's happening? They blamed another distributor, and within 3 weeks, we did a deal with HIKVISION, and the original plan was, right, let's become a wholesaler. We'll cut back, we'll shrink it back, reduce the overheads, and we'll become a tier 2. We approached HIKVISION and said, look, can we do this? And the answer was no. Oh, brilliant, nice one. Actually, we'd like you as a tier 1. And we did a deal, like I say, from nothing to that within 3 weeks. And we announced it back end of 21, and we had stock on the shelves back end of 20. We had stock on the shelves January 21, and we just ran with that.
And how easy or difficult was it to convert your loyal Dahua customers to HIKVISION?
It was difficult, but we were very fortunate with the fact that at the time, the Dahua marketplace was a lot smaller than the HIKVISION marketplace.
Right.
I mean, we went from being, like I said, the biggest Dahua distributor to the smallest HIK distributor by a long way. We thought it was very much Pepsi Coke, that it was very similar product,
But it was more like Coke and Virgin Cola.
it wasn't even that, it was Iron Brew and Coke. And it was suddenly you're jumping into this much bigger pond. We lost about 50% of the customers.
Wow.
Overnight. And there was a lot of people that, like we discussed, sort of trusted us, and they said, look, we're not bothered what you sell. We just want to buy from COP. We love you guys. We love the service and support you offer. And that was nice to hear. And then, yeah, it was difficult to convert the rest, but we picked up a lot of new business because of the reputation we had for the service and support, that people we'd lost back in the day when they went over to HIK originally came back and said, brilliant, you're selling HIK now, we can buy from you again. So, yeah, that was a fun time.
Tooraj, you've had a similar kind of experience,
Yes.
but with a different brand. So I recall you guys used to be HIK suppliers,
Yes, sub-distribution, yeah.
sub-distributors. But now you're a main Uniview distributor.
Yes.
So what happened there?
Yeah, it is very long story, but so generally what happened was we wanted to grow even with HIKVISION, but the problem is when you are sub-distribution, there is always a room to grow. So you go to the point where you can't grow anymore. It doesn't matter what you do, you never grow into
Up to
that certain
the next point.
That's it. Yeah. And we had a lot of meetings with HIKVISION, find a way to grow. Even they offered us funding another branch, like not fully funded, but maybe
Subsidized
partial,
some
yeah.
towards it, yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, the deal, it wasn't good. Then what happened was 3 companies, as in a sub-distribution, we joined together, and we went to HIKVISION again to get tier 1 distributor. And in that time, we had a lot of meetings with HIKVISION, same as usual. And at the end, the deal didn't go through because of some kind of internal problem that we had with HIKVISION, it was going back mainly to the pricing that they were offering. So it was not
Pricing on the products.
Yes,
What, as in you were getting a different price to the other distributors?
exactly, yeah.
Higher? I'm guessing higher.
Of course, it has to be higher. If it was lower, we would be there. You know? We would never left. Then, so we had these kind of problems with them. So at the end, we couldn't make the deal happen. So as we wanted to grow, we had to find another alternative brand, which we had like meetings a lot with Uniview. Then, luckily, we signed the agreement with Uniview. On the day, we cancelled everything with HIKVISION, exactly same day.
Did you cancel it with HIKVISION, or did HIKVISION cancel it with you?
It was both ways.
Mutual
Yeah, it was mutual agreement because they didn't want us to grow for whatever reason, we don't know. And we wanted to grow from other side. So we couldn't come to an agreement. So the deal was cancelled, and HIKVISION basically tried to stop us in many different ways, not having access to the product for our existing customer. So basically, they tried everything to make us fail. But it didn't happen. And we went with Uniview, which obviously, imagine we signed the agreement with Uniview, we had no stock. And from the other side, we had no access to HIKVISION products.
So you were basically with empty, You had customers coming and you had no stock to sell
No,
them.
we had obviously
You had
a lot of,
limited amounts of stock.
yes. So then we had to think what to do.
So what did you do?
So obviously we had Uniview has got warehouse in Europe, so we had some stock from there. Then we had started working on the different product, and it took some time to introduce the product to the customers and the market. But first year was very hard, I can say. It was really challenging. But after the first year, it just became much easier. And luckily right now, we work with all other Uniview distributor. So we have like kind of friendship as well. So because we didn't get their customers. So we have
you didn't target any. You were basically just converting your own existing customers.
We had a lot of customers, so we talked to them, and as James said, the trust was there, so they listened to us. So that is how we should say thanks to our customer, because this is how we stand here today. Otherwise, we would have been gone 3 years ago.
So, if a customer was to still come into your branch now, and they need some HIKVISION products, or even let's say some Dahua products, can you still obtain them?
Yes, of course. We have a lot of different channels in the market. So we don't let the customer go somewhere. I mean, we try not to let the customer go somewhere else. So that is why we have a small range of HIKVISION product, because our database of customers was using HIKVISION as in 100%. We were not offering any alternative the time we were working with them. And one of the other things happened, as James said, same as Dahua HIKVISION done to us. So they started contacting our customers. And then we couldn't stop them. So we lost a lot of customers, obviously, first year. And this exactly same thing happened to them. It happened to us exactly same way.
So currently now, which brands do you stock in the store?
CCTV wise, we do the Dahua, HIKVISION, and we do Hanwha. Hanwha we took on at the start of this year, which has worked really well for us actually. It's a lot of the project-based stuff. We've got MOJ contracts through one of our customers.
Okay.
But I think it's the anti-China.
It's someone who the whole NDAA issue.
Yeah.
So are you authorized across all three brands?
No. So HIKVISION we're not authorized. We tried to obtain the HIKVISION authorization, and we were told. I went down to London for a meeting with HIKVISION and was told that we were just stealing business from the other distributors, and there was too many people within the Manchester area doing it. My response to that was, well, hang on a minute. If two lads from Middleton in a little shop are causing problems for your big distributors, they're got a problem.
Their problem on that side, not with you.
Yeah. We're not cheaper. We're not doing it on price. We're more expensive. I mean, ADI, their UK headquarters is a 4-minute drive. It's about a mile and a half away from us. And they do HIKVISION. They sell it much cheaper than us. They sell Dahua much cheaper than us. But if we're causing problems, you've got to look internally.
It's not the price then, is it?
It's not. And we were told that if we move to Doncaster, we'll support you and we'll help you open a branch there. We won't pay for it, but again, we'll offer some funding towards that. And I said, well, I'm not relocating my entire family to Doncaster.
It's not the best place.
Well, not even that. I live in Manchester. I've got a young family, and why would I relocate? The exact response I got, well, there has to be some sacrifice from your side. And that kind of summarised that meeting, and it was, look, thanks for the time, but no, we're all right, thank you.
So what does not being an authorised distributor, what's the difference with authorised and not authorised as a sub-distributor?
For us, it doesn't make any difference. Probably the companies who are authorised, as James said just now, they get rebate.
Yeah.
But rebate, it works as in a kind of tools where they can control you a lot. And one of the things, again, they sub-distribution, as in authorized, they have to be more careful with the data they have. So you get a rebate if you only do this.
Yeah.
So that is why a rebate is, I would say, is a dangerous tool.
It's a stick to beat you with.
Yeah.
And I think they, it is. And I think the bigger distributors, you hear of stories where if you don't do this, we'll withhold your rebate. And it's just if you become reliant upon that. I mean, we get a rebate from Dahua at the end of every quarter if we hit our target, and then an annual one if we hit that. I never look at it as well, that's included in our margin.
It's a bit of just
bonus.
a bonus, isn't it?
It
Put
is.
towards the marketing or something like that.
Yeah, the Christmas party.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's the way you have to look at it, because otherwise, and like you said, HIKVISION can use it, and the other brands do as well. They use it as a tool to keep you in line and to, well, you're only
Dictate
making...
you, basically.
Yeah, and that's how they try and control it. And I think you're right. It's dangerous to become reliant upon that.
Do you think there is room for other brands to penetrate into, let's say, the CCTV and other discipline market in the UK? Because at the moment we've got all your HIKVISION, Dahua, Uniview, then let's say we've got Hanwha, then you've got your European ones, Axis, Bosch, you've got Vigilon, Motorola, etc., Vicon, a couple of other brands there. Because I put this to the other distributors who we had on Vidicon and Aprima, that there isn't really many own brand OEM companies anymore who bring in their own brand here. But like you said, why haven't like Tiandi, TVT, these other manufacturers thought, right, let's go? Because the UK is, if I'm not wrong, the UK is probably the biggest security market in the world.
I think it's definitely up there.
We have more security cameras than anywhere in the world per person.
Yeah.
So why do you think these other brands haven't thought, let's go and get into the UK market?
I think it's fear from the sort of the UK level in terms of if you try and take on another brand, the bigger brands throw their weight about. They make it difficult. And I've seen instances where if you want to take on a range of Intruder, you can't do that. And again, they use that rebate as a whipping stick. And actually, we're going to have to reevaluate our business. And when these brands come in, you've also got the problem that the product itself is not as competitive across the range. Their R&D departments are huge. They are multinational, sort of controlled by governments. They are huge. And you're trying to compete against that. I think there is definitely a growing demand for something else. I think we're seeing that a lot. I don't know if you are as well, in terms of people asking, what other options are there?
Like a non-Chinese now, just because this whole scare tactic that has been coming in with the NDAA.
Yeah, I personally don't like this NDAA thing. I think anything's only secure as you make it.
Your own network. I always say to people, look at the router that your products are connected to. Where's that made? Look at your phone, made in China. So this whole thing of, they're watching our data, it's...
If somebody wants to look at the outside of my house, be my guest. I understand it from a government point of view and sort of national infrastructure. I can get behind that argument and I agree with it. I think for general domestic stuff, it's pure scaremongering. So, yeah, I do think there is a demand coming for people.
Yeah,
though.
I think what happened is the whole market, either in the UK or anywhere else, it is like kind of unlimited market. So you can't say this brand is gonna stay here forever. That's 100% wrong, because if let's go back 7 years ago or 6 years ago when Ajax came to the UK.
Yeah.
So Texacom was there, Pyronics was there, so many other big brands, they were there. But look at Ajax now. So with having a right marketing, and right strategy.
And the right products. I think Ajax have hit it with their products.
Yes.
Like, and how they're bringing out new products so quickly all of a sudden.
They're the Apple of the sort of intruder world.
In the intruder world. And again, I've mentioned this on the other one. You get installers who they either love it or you don't like it. But you're going to get that with everything. Yeah. But they are, in my eyes, taking over the intruder market. In the wireless intruder market, they are.
And now the other brands are...
Other brands are following suit. Yeah. What I see, before you had CCTV brands were just doing video security and intruder alarms were just doing intruder alarms. Now you've got the CCTV want to take over door entry and intruder. And now we're seeing with Ajax leading by example that they're now moving into video surveillance. They brought out a doorbell. They've just brought out their EN54 wireless panel, Fire. And I'm guarantee it won't be long till we see some access control from them and door intercom stuff. Guaranteed. Because it's going to follow suit. We're going to see vape detection from them. With this, I know you've recently just introduced a door access brand that you just brought into
the market. From Dinake Intercom, yeah.
And what I'm hearing across from different brands is traditionally with door entry, you've got your traditional market players who've been here a while, but now with the introduction of Chinese brands, they're coming out with some better features, but again, the better pricing as well.
Yeah.
So for the one of the reasons we work with Dinake, so that again happened same time when we started working with Uniview. So we started working with Dinake at the same time. So that was almost three years ago. What I like personally about Dinake, they only focused on intercom and access control product. They don't do CCTV, they don't do alarm, they don't even invest or even look at any other kind of range in the market. So purely they are only on the intercom and access control. That is why when they release a new product, they always have something new to talk. So let's say this new access control, they have it all PoE, simple to use,
facial
all cloud-based.
Recognition.
Yeah, the new one has got the face detection as well. So they always have something new to release into market because they're only focusing like only one line.
Would you look at introducing another brand to the business, or are you happy with the brands that you've got?
At the moment, I mean, we get approached all the time.
Yeah,
trying to get their brand into the shop. I'm sure you're the same. You get requests every day. At the moment, I'm happy with what we've got. That's mainly because of the fact that, like I said, there's only 3 of us. Making sure that we understand all of the products is very important, that we know what we're selling. If we get more brands in, if we looked at Uniview or Tiandi just for the CCTV side, suddenly I've got all these products that I offer, and trying to support that is very difficult. I mean, me and Scott set J&S up with service as the key driver, and I feel like if we offered those brands, we would probably lose that element. And then you've not got that USP. You go back to, again, how do you differentiate yourself between yourself and the big boys? So right now, no, probably not, unless there was something that I spotted and went, that, we need it. We have to sell that product. In the future, yeah, definitely. Definitely look for more brands. Not to dilute the sales of the other brands.
Add value to...
Yes, to grow, because again, I look at what we've discussed already with COP, where it was 80% Dahua or 80% HIK. Suddenly they've got that control, and I don't want to be in a situation where one of the brands comes to us and says, do this, and I have to say yes. I've got the ability to say, no, thank you, not interested. And if we lose it, we lose it. We can survive. Yes, it will hurt us a little bit, but we can carry on with the other brands. So, yeah, I think no for now, yes in the future.
Have you guys had lots of inquiries since COP stopped trading, in effect? Have you know, people ringing up, we're looking for another supplier, XYZ? I'm guessing because you are only, you're 15, 20 minutes from where they were based.
Yeah.
Have you had people ring you, and also with being within the industry or with COP that you were there before?
Yes, yeah, we've picked up quite a lot of business as a result of that. A lot of people are shopping around at the moment. I think, obviously, when we left COP and started J&S, I was very respectful in terms of I didn't go after
Their clients.
all the big clients, because the truth of it is we couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I mean, they were doing, I don't know what they were doing at the end, but when we sold the business, it was doing 15 million turnover.
Yeah.
There is no way that we could have supported that level of business. It's just, we'd have fallen flat
Too big,
on our
too
face.
quick.
Yeah. And whereas now we're in a much more stable position, we understand business more. I mean, it's my first real business. And yes, I've watched my father build COP and grow that and seen how he's run it. But taking the training wheels off and go and doing it on your own is a different thing. So we spoke to customers at the time and said, look, we're off doing this. If you want to throw a bit our way, please do. But I'm not coming after all your business. And again, that worked well for us because people appreciated the honesty. But when we found out that they'd been dumped by HIKVISION, I actually rang customers and said, look, can
They've
I...
gone, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Or
no.
they've lost their...
At first, it was very much, look, there's going to be a time in the near future that they cannot provide you the HIKVISION product. I want my name in that hat when that time comes, but please, for the time being, continue to use them because they're going to need your support. I'm good friends with a lot of people that were still there. And then when we found out that's it, they've shut, they are no longer doing HIKVISION as of now, that changed. Then we started hammering the phones and, right, let's get after that business, explaining who we are, what we're trying to do at J&S, and that really sort of helped people thought, yeah, all right, we'll give you guys a go.
The same happened with us as well. When they stopped trading, the COP UK, we had, for especially the first 1 or 2 weeks, we saw many old faces coming back. That it was shocking as well. So maybe imagine 3 years we haven't seen them. And just
Suddenly they're ringing up, sort of coming
they
in.
got busy again.
We need to.
Yeah.
They got busy.
To finish off with, what do you think happened to COP in terms of losing their distributorship? I know it's a tricky one because there was a lot of rumours flying around, like all sorts. I've heard it all.
Yeah, so have I. And I don't think the truth will ever be known.
Yeah.
I think I look back at when it happened with us and Dahua, and we got blamed. We dumped Dahua. And I look at some of the things I heard about that time, and I just look at what I'm hearing now, and 99% of it's probably rubbish. The truth of it is that we'll never know what truly happened. And there's probably 50-50 in terms of...
It's like, I think, on the previous one, Carl from a premium was saying, it's a two-way relationship. You know, both parties have to respect... It's like a marriage. You got to respect each other. And if one disrespects the other, it's going to be...
Yes. One thing that I can almost guarantee is that the decision for HIKVISION to terminate the agreement with COP wasn't made in that moment.
Yeah.
That has been coming for months, because when we were dumped by Dahua, we could pinpoint pretty much the exact moment, and it was probably 8 months earlier that they made that decision. I mean, people ask me all the time now, well, why are you doing business with Dahua again? But that management team has completely changed, and they've changed their ethos.
Right. I was going to ask that as well. How come, if you got dumped by Dahua with your father, how come you're still selling it?
Yeah, and it's a valid question. And they've changed their ethos. I mean, I still speak to a lot of the people that are running the big distributors for Dahua, and they themselves say it's changed. Back in that time, Dahua's mentality was very much right, sell in to the distributor, and that's how they measured their KPIs. They've changed that, and it's now sell out, because if the distributor sells more, they'll buy more from Dahua. It's simple. And I think the country manager at Dahua now is the longest serving Dahua country manager. And he's not been there that long. So much so that they had a party to celebrate
that.
It was more of a joke, but that, and to be fair, he's brought that ethos in and done a very good job. But yeah, going back to COP, I think that decision was made
much earlier.
Yes, and they've waited till it suited them, and they've been very aggressive with that. The statement that they released was very aggressive. And yeah, like I say, I don't think we'll ever know.
As James said, like no one really can tell what happened.
Yeah.
And we can't even say anything because we are not there in their position to say anything. But from my experience, working with some kind of big brands is not going to be easy. And as James said, I saw in the market probably 5 or 4 months ago where this happening, there was some changes happening in terms of prices with HIKVISION, and then suddenly this, after a few months, it happened. So as James said, it's like there was planned.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking your time out to come onto this podcast, and hopefully I'll probably have you on again in the future. Thanks you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That wraps up episode 3 of Room Secured. A big thank you to Tooraj from Doris CCTV and James from J&S Security for sharing their experiences and giving us an inside look at life as an independent distributor. What's clear is that independents face challenges the big players don't, but they also bring advantages you can't ignore. Flexibility, closer customer relationships, and the ability to adapt quickly. This is exactly what Room Secured is about, putting the industry's different voices around the same table, cutting through the sales talk, and having the conversations that matter. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe, follow, and like for our next episode.